Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I just fed my dogs, so that may be what you're hearing in the background. But my name is Caillie, and I make content here on YouTube about fashion and a little bit of beauty and lifestyle as well. We're really amped up after eating, huh? So today, I've decided we're going to do a haul video, but this haul video will be inspired by Old Loser in Brooklyn's Mended hauls. So if any of you guys saw my closet clear out video, as I'm sure you're aware, there is quite a bit of clothing in my wardrobe that needs to be tailored or maybe taken to the shoe repair store, cobbler, I guess. I'm filming this video, one, because I think it's cool, and two, to incentivize me to actually fix some of the clothing that I need to have fixed in my wardrobe. I'm not sure if I'm going to fix all of it myself, but I'm going to show you the process of at least fixing some of it myself. So the first thing that we need to repair are these Proenza Schouler wool trousers that I got off eBay. So we're going to try them on and then we're going to see what we need to do. So we're filming in my office today just because it's close to my sewing setup. Makes it nice and easy. Yeah, you have a toy. These pants are really long. I'm going to need to hem them too. But they're not huge, but if you look in the back, they're just a little big, and I really don't like that gap. Whew. Find my pins. I gotta take some pins and see how much we need to take it in to get like a good, comfortable fit. We're gonna visit the hemming later. That will be easy at least. So at least for this part, I'm gonna take them in the center. I'm not sure I'm actually gonna take them in the center, but we'll have to see. That's how I put my slap band on and then proceeded to grab pins from my regular cushion. This is very challenging to do by yourself. I mean, I think part of the reason to take it to the tailors is just the convenience of not having to do this. But take them off and see what we're working with. Okay, so now that we have the pins all marked where I need them to be taken in, it looks like they don't actually need to be taken in very much. At most, it needs to be taken in 1 3/4, about 5.5 inches down. So if you have to take in, and you're trying to tailor on your own yourself, if you have to take in a lot of fabric, it's better to start here at these two side seams. It'll give you a more even look and it won't change sort of the cut of the pant very much. Since I don't need to take it in very much, I think I'm going to do it down the middle. So that way I don't mess with the pockets at all, because the pockets are beautiful and I just don't want to mess with them. And fixing them is going to be way more headache than it. I don't even know if it's possible if I destroy these pockets to fully fix them. So yeah, we're going to do it down the middle because I don't need to take it in that much. And if you try to sew or tailor any of your clothing at home, you will know that a seam ripper is going to become your best friend because you can't tailor clothing without ripping seams. When I was a kid and I was less patient, I tried to do it with just cutting, and the product never turned out as well. So you got to do the extra work and rip the seams. And fortunately, it doesn't look like we'll have too much to rip here, but it will be, as it always is, a pain to rip. This is a seam ripper. Be careful, this edge is very sharp. This edge is not. First thing I'm doing is ripping off this belt buckle loop, this belt loop. Not a belt buckle, a belt loop. It's like a really tight zigzag stitch, and it is really not gonna want to fall off easily, which is good if you don't have to rip it out. What if I mess this up horribly? I'm gonna be heartbroken. This is also part of the reason I stopped sewing as much. I've become, in my old age, 25, I've become a bit of a perfectionist. And sometimes I have found I don't actually have the patience to produce perfection. These are really well-made pants. Here I am ripping them up. Ow! I hit myself. That's why you have to be careful with your seam ripper. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. So it took a while, but I have successfully seam ripped down the back of my pants, and then I had to cut the band here. So what we're going to do now is sew up the measurements on the back of the pants together, and then just take it in like a little dart. And then after that, you just need to make the band look pretty and then hem it. You know, if you're looking for high quality wool pants, I would recommend Proenza Schouler because the seams and the attention to detail on these pants are extremely difficult to rip apart. Not extremely difficult, but you can't get this quality everywhere. Let me just tell you that. They're very well sewn together. High amount of labor went into the construction of this garment. And I feel like I know that because I've just spent, half an hour or whatever ripping them apart. So my boyfriend and I are really into The Amazing Race and kind of all reality television. And we're watching like the All-Star season. I don't know what season it is. I think it's 24. I'm not sure. But there was one challenge where they went to Sri Lanka and they had to sew together a shirt in a factory. Like a running joke in my family is like, who would be the best Amazing Race partner? And to be honest, I'm not convinced I would be the best Amazing Race partner because I'm not a great navigator. And on top of that, I get like terrible motion sickness. So even if I was navigating, oh my God, you wouldn't want to see me in the car. So I'd have to be the driver. And I don't know how to drive stick. And that comes up every season, at least once, I feel like. Everyone's in a car and the whole kerfuffle is, oh my God, we're driving stick, which at this point, I don't know how you could go on The Amazing Race not knowing how to drive stick. If you're going on The Amazing Race, a little wisdom from me. There's one thing you have to do is learn to drive stick. At this point, everybody knows. Don't be the person who gets on the show and is like, oh my God, we're driving stick. It happens every season. So right here, you have my seams pinned together, all pretty. I'm going to go to the machine, and to start it off, I'm going to do a base stitch because I don't know if it's going to be right. So basting is like a really good trick to use it's like pinning because it's not a permanent seam and it's easy to remove, but it's a little bit more permanent. So it's easier to try on without the pinning. It only takes a second because it's a really wide stitch. So my sewing machine has a base stitch. I'm just going to go along and baste it to be sure. Some people use chalk to mark it, and honestly, I really should. I just don't have chalk. So instead, I use my pins to mark it. And it's a much less perfect system, but it works for me. I feel like a lot of the fashion girlies are like in the new year wanting to like get better at tailoring their clothing. And I think that's so cool. Okay, my base is done. Time to try these bad boys on. I mean, my waistband's not done at all. I need to take that in. But these feel like they fit a lot better. Perfect. Since my base turned out good, then I'm just going to go in and do a permanent seam. And I don't know if I explained basting well, but basically you just take the length of the seam. If you don't have a special basting stitch, you take the length of the needle going down and the bobbin connecting all the way. So you just lengthen the stitch. And there's a setting on all machines to do that. And it makes tailoring and stuff like this a lot easier just to try on. Basting 101. If you do learn to sew and you do baste, you can make jokes about being a master baster, like my mom and I always do, which is pretty funny. Whenever you're finishing seams, it helps if you backstitch and then just trim your threads. Then just go in, remove your baste. It should come undone really easy. It's a lot better than like fully seam ripping. Where are my scissors? Oh no. Oh no. I feel like I'm not doing a great job with this tutorial because you can't see anything, but once you have the amount you want to dart it, you just take a little bit out and trim it down. Then you're just going to move your machine over to any zigzag stitch and finish your raw edges so that way it doesn't fray too much. Doing this is not hard. Doing it well is hard. I live and die by that. You know, I like how I said I got all my seam ripping done, left my seam ripper in the other room, and decided there's more seams I would like to rip. Oy vey. I see why Makara tours, when she films herself, she just talks about random stuff. Because I'm trying to explain this, and I don't feel like I'm doing a particularly good job. I mean, I love her videos, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Like, I don't deeply enjoy watching them. I'm trying to do another split hem because the serge seams look so nice. So once you do that, your band is going to be a new length, and it will not be correct. So you're just gonna fold that over, and it's not gonna be as nice as this one, and I've accepted that, and I'm totally not okay with it, but I'm going to pretend I am, because I'm a perfectionist, whilst also not being perfect, which sucks. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this band all the way down on one side and then just take it and fold it in like this over top. I don't know if that's going to look super nice, but I guess I have the belt loop to cover it up. So something kind of like this. So take it like this and then this folded on top. I'm really doing my best out here. Just nice and slow. It's a finishing stitch. It's not a race. If it was a race, I wouldn't be winning. I think I'm also really anxious about how these turn out because I really was not convinced I wanted to tailor these pants myself because I really wanted them to come out good. If you're worried about fitting into them later too, you could not trim them like I did and instead just fold it under, like the excess under. And now that I'm thinking about it, I wish I did that. Do as I say, not as I do. Part of it is I like grew up tailoring my clothing for myself, but like a lot of the time I wasn't. So when I was younger, I wasn't so attached to the outcome being good. So I just kind of did it quick and easy to get it done. So now I think as I'm older and I've begun to just take more pride in what I'm able to do. Now I'm kind of relearning skills I had and finding better ways to do them. It's going to be a thick seam. When you're going through a lot of thickness, like this feels, one of the things you can do is take the tension on your machine way up, and the increase in tension will make it easier for your machine to go through. So one of the things that I really didn't understand at all when I first started sewing was the roll tension plate machine. But I actually think these might turn out nice. I mean, aside from that, I really do wish I hadn't cut it and instead just done it properly. But that didn't happen. I'm gonna have to live with that. Also, another do as I say, not as I do moment. If you're sewing, don't sew over your pins. I try to avoid doing it, but sometimes I do. It's part of the reason I wear glasses when I sew. Oh! It's not perfect, but it feels respectable enough. I may have to kiss my belt loop goodbye. I did a lot of work to try to preserve it because I thought I would really want it. Now my belt loops are really close together. I think it's kind of a wasted effort. You know what? For all my griping about this. I don't think it's going to turn out irrespectably. I think it'll be a respectable effort. I think nobody's going to notice that it was tailored except for me. But the only way to learn to do something is doing it. So now we're going to backstitch it. And I think the final thing is going to be hemming. Let's try them on and then figure out how much I need to hem them. I'm going to step way back, but the pants waist is all done and hemming is going to be the easy part. For hemming trousers like this, I wouldn't recommend using a machine. I'd recommend doing a special stitch by hand called an invisible stitch. I feel like I want to take them up 5.5 inches. I will show you how to do an invisible stitch. Invisible stitches are really easy to do by hand, so you'll be fine. Okay, I'm not growing, but I feel like I really did regret trimming earlier. So at least for right now, I might not trim the excess. One of the first things, if you're learning to sew, you should learn is, think about it. Plan twice, cut once. And I don't even think I truly planned. I just was like, this will work. And it will. But I did not plan twice. And I'm coming to regret my frivolity. So I have pinned where I think I want my hems to be. We're just going to try it on to see. You can pin twice too. You can always pin more. This is perfect. Okay. Perfect. I don't know if you can see the full length, but it hits me in a really nice spot. Final step, and invisible hems, even by hand, are very quick. Just take a needle and some thread. One day in my life, I'm not going to have the vision I have anymore. And I'm not going to be able to thread a needle without, one of those needle threaders. And that's going to be terribly devastating because I have no idea how to use them. You tie the end of your thread in a knot, and then you're going to make one very tight seam, okay? So you're going to thread it. Pretty much right on top of it, put your needle back through. So you have one very tight, tiny seam, and then you're going to do a few bigger seams. So these ones don't have to be perfect. Nobody's going to see them. And then you're going to just do the same thing. One tiny seam all the way through, and then a few more. And then you'll do 3 to 5 bigger seams. You don't want to go too far without securing the hem itself. You don't want them to be too close together that you can see it's sewn. And at the end, it will look like this, where you can't even tell. So I'm going to finish up hemming my pants. And then after that, I'll try the pants on with a cute little outfit and tell you how I think I did. So I thought I would show you guys the finished product of the trousers I tailored to fit myself. I just put it on with this cute little outfit, my white t-shirt and a little vest, but I feel like they turned out really well. I'm pretty happy with the job I did. I feel like they fit me really nice in the waist, and they definitely now fit me appropriately in length. So yeah, I thought I was gonna do more things. I feel like I spent a long time explaining how I tailored these trousers to fit me, so hopefully you guys found that helpful. But this is how they turned out, and I hope you really like them. My name is Caillie. Thank you guys so much again for watching today's video, and let me know how you guys think I did on these trousers. Okay, bye guys.